Greetings, this is Daniel Kremer for Trailers from Hell, and we've got a bit of a long trailer for you today for a bit of a long movie, in fact, nearly 3 hours long. So I'm going to save most of my comments for the trailer itself, but for now, all I'm going to say is go ahead and hate your neighbor, go ahead and cheat a friend, do it in the name of heaven, you can justify it in the end. From 1974, The Trial of Billy Jack. Let the day is here. I have friends who will take me to task for using the term guilty pleasure, but this is one instance where I must invoke it because Billy Jack movies are my biggest guilty pleasures, and the trial of Billy Jack is the ne plus ultra of the Billy Jack franchise. It is in turns ridiculous, campy, gorgeous, dippy, dizzying, tacky, epic, brilliant, goofy, resplendent, and awful. It dances with sinuous ease between raw ambition and batshit craze. It would take me hopped up on a lot of hallucinogens to come up with something that comes within 39 feet of its strangely graceful gonzo delirium. And Tom Laughlin listlessly waltzes through it all with that ineffable Billy Jack stoic mojo. Did I mention that this film was 3 hours long? Yep, that's 3 hours of Billy Jack. Well, okay, not quite 3 hours of Billy Jack per se. More like 3 hours of earnestly attempting to tackle every societal ill on God's green earth, with hippy dippy jibber jabber and ample love bombing, punctuated intermittently with some of the expected chop socky fight sequences, along with would be lyrical interludes of our hero wooing bald eagles and mystically going where no ass kicker has gone before. He does deboot to beat to Kingdom Come the regressive local hicks, rubes, and power elites who live to torment the kids at Frau Jean's Freedom School. But those sequences are paced and spaced with meandering footage of seminars, soapboxes, conspiracy theorizing, and fiery political jeremiads that place the film very much in the Watergate era. Is that to say that it's dated? Yes, but in a certain time capsule sense. Pauline Kael wrote that the film represents the most extraordinary display of sanctimonious self aggrandizement the screen has ever known. Oh, yeah, and as it turns out, Billy Jack was the only righteous soul at the My Lai massacre because, of course, he was. The Trial of Billy Jack happens to be one of the films included in the book The 50 Worst Films of All Time and How They Got That Way by Harry Medved and Randy Lowell. And sure, it's got its issues, but I've often thought what a hero like Billy Jack would mean in today's America. Could have been interesting, right? This was certainly an example of a film that scored with audiences while critics tore it to shreds. In fact, Tom Laughlin was so annoyed with its critical reception that he sponsored an essay contest, offering a cash prize to whomever submitted the best essay on why all the critics were wrong about the trial of Billy Jack. True story. Somebody won the prize, too. And Laughlin had no problem offering up that money because the trial of Billy Jack made a bloody fortune. $89 million to be exact, on a budget of 2.5 million and an advertising budget of 3 million. And this is right on the heels of the success of the previous Billy Jack, which was re-released in conjunction with this film's premiere. Notice I didn't say the original film because that designation belongs to the AIP flick The Born Losers from 1967, where the Billy Jack character was first introduced. The Trial of Billy Jack remained number one at the US box office for 3 weeks, and it was one of the widest releases at the time, opening in 1,000 theaters its first week. Laughlin was kind of a distribution pioneer, revolutionizing the four wall process. He rented the theaters and he controlled the box office receipts. Needless to say, he made a mint and followed the film up with The Master Gunfighter in 1974 and the ultimately unreleased Billy Jack Goes to Washington in 1977. That one later emerged on the video market, but Laughlin claimed for years that the US government tried to suppress the film. He tried to get back into the Billy Jack industry in the mid 80s, with our hero targeting child pornographers in New York City, but that project, titled The Return of Billy Jack, remained unfinished. There was another attempt to pick the series back up again in the early 2000s under the title Billy Jack's Crusade to End the War in Iraq and Restore America to its Moral Purpose. Just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Other titles in Billy Jack projects were considered too, like Billy Jack's Moral Revolution and Billy Jack for President. Allegedly, that one would have culminated in a debate sequence between our hero and George W. Bush. What a hoot. By the way, notice how long this trailer is? Yeah, it's over 5 minutes. The film's excesses seem to have bled over into the trailer, but it gave me an opportunity to wax poetic about Billy Jack and why I love it for good and for ill. What a trip.
Quite possibly the most explosive film of our time.